Hi and welcome to another video. My name is Deborah and this is the Edit by DH. It has been a while since I've done a video back in my house, in my room in the UK. Today's video is an exciting one just because it's very different to what I normally do, and it's obviously comparing, I want to say East versus West, which sounds really cliche, but it's comparing Western makeup to Eastern, or more specifically Korean makeup. And I obviously had an idea of some of the differences, but there were some surprises along the way. And even though I didn't say anything for a long time, I've had an idea to get a makeover in Korea because I kind of just wanted to let them do their own thing and just let them reign free to see what they would come up with and how different it would be to how I normally do my makeup. So I was really excited. The main thing I just wanted to point out is the difference when you get your makeup between a beauty shop and a beauty counter. So here in the UK, it's very normal to get your makeup and hair done separately. So you go to normally a hair salon, hairdressers to get your hair done, and then you'll go to a beauty counter, for example, to get your makeup done. Pre-pandemic anyway, it wasn't unusual to see people getting their makeup done, sat down on those black, leather or fake leather makeup chairs getting their makeup done by the beauty counter makeup artists. And certainly I used to do that myself when I used to be a makeup artist. However, in Korea, I don't know if the pandemic has anything to do with it, but it's not very common for people to get their makeup done on a beauty counter. So normally when you walk around in a department store or a shop, I think I didn't ever see anyone get their makeup done other than maybe one time someone getting their foundation match done. Otherwise, it's really uncommon to see people getting their makeup done. When I used to work as a makeup artist, it was very common for clients to come in, sit in the makeup chair, ask for one of the looks, and normally they would pay a fee. So say I don't know, £50, and then they would get their 1 hour makeup service, either a natural look, a specific lesson, or a party look for £50, and then that £50 would be redeemable against products in store, which is honestly a steal because you're getting the service and you're getting the products. Even then, we had customers who complained and people who just frankly used to take the piss quite a lot. But in Korea, you will have to go to a beauty shop to get your makeup and hair done. So it's very common to walk into a beauty shop, which is basically like a beauty salon, and you can't purchase really any cosmetics from there, and you get your hair and your makeup done. So it's almost like you get your makeover done there. And it's very common for celebrities to go there to get, their makeup and hair done just before going on TV or award ceremony. And it's very common for people who are getting married, brides, to go there and get their hair and makeup done. And honestly, I've seen some of these transformations and they're absolutely stunning. But also it's very normal for people who want to be a bit more bougie, get their hair and makeup done, just everyday normal people who just want to feel a little bit VIP, I guess, feel a little bit special and fit some self-care and self-love in there and get their hair and makeup done. So I just really wanted to see how I would look with a completely Korean makeover. So today, obviously, I'm not applying any makeup for the purpose of this video. You guys have seen me apply makeup to my face plenty of times, and if you haven't, there are plenty of videos for you to click through and have a look at. Today I've applied makeup how I normally would for, say, it's not my most natural look, but I would say it's a little bit verging on soft glam, but very soft glam. So I've done a typical winged eyeliner, which it's like my signature. I need a winged liner to feel like myself. So I've done a winged liner, mascara. My brows have been laminated. I recently shared a laminated brow video on my IGTV on my Instagram. So if you haven't seen that video, the link for it will be down below. Normally what I tend to do is just find either a brow pen or a pencil, but I generally prefer brow pens that are literally identical color to my brows, and just slightly fill it in to make the brows look a bit more feathery. I'll brush it up to make it look a bit more fluffy. With my base, I like to keep it as natural as possible. I have a little bit of I don't know if it's beauty spots or just, I don't even think it's freckles, maybe it is. I tend to have a few like spots on my face, not acne spots, freckles, let's just say freckles for the purpose of this video. And I don't mind if they show through. I don't mind my skin showing through. I tend to gravitate towards sort of light to medium foundations where my skin shows through. I like that natural look. I love my contour because I need all the help I can get with my face being as slim as possible. So I tend to do like quite structured contouring on my face, around my cheekbones, under my triple chin. And I love blush, so I tend to put it on the apples of my cheeks. And I love highlighter, but today I just did a subtle wash of highlighter. And normally I tend to prefer sort of like a tinted lip balm just for everyday going out purpose, quite like the Hermes one. But today I've just put on a lipstick. I've kept it really simple, soft glam look. And I wanted to do this look as a demonstration of what I would normally do before I show you the transformation and show you how the Korean artists and stylists helped me to transform into their version of what's considered beautiful in Korea. When I was looking for this beauty shop in Korea, I didn't know where to begin. I had an idea of where I would go, which is what's called the 𝕗𝕠𝕠𝕟 𝕀'𝕚 area. So it would be the equivalent of Mayfair. It would be the equivalent of King's Road in London. So your real bougie high-end places where they have the most luxurious designer stores. So I knew I would target that area. Just because I felt like they would be the most experienced, perhaps they'd be most skilled. I had that feeling, but I didn't know where to start because honestly, beauty in Korea is insane. The choice, the amount of choice, the options is insane. So luckily, I have a friend in Korea. I just asked her to make a recommendation to me. She instantly recommended one called Forester. I think it's Forester Cheongdam, and it's a salon in 𝕗𝕠𝕠𝕟 𝕀'𝕚, and they do hair and makeup, so it's like a beauty shop, like I said. I believe on the hair side, they're linked to 𝕬𝕗, which is obviously owned by Estee Lauder. So her friend is like the lead hairstylist in this salon. So she made an appointment, my friend made an appointment for me to have both my hair and makeup done. Initially, it was going to be for a photo shoot, but I decided that, you know, I didn't have the time, so it ended up becoming kind of date night makeup and transformation, I guess. So my friend's friend, who's the lead hairstylist, did my hair, and although I didn't film that part of the section, she was just so lovely. She just asked me what I wanted, and honestly, I felt more secure in her seat than any other seat I've been in before, because A, I knew she was experienced, B, I knew she had the seniority and experience that went with it, but also because, you know, I was in Korea and they know, you know, the face shape, they know what suits you, which is quite different to going into an English salon where sometimes I feel like they're a bit intimidated by my hair. It's thicker than a lot of Caucasian hair, it's longer than a lot of Caucasian hair, and sometimes I just feel like they kind of don't really know what to do with it. Sometimes they love it because of those reasons, and other times they feel a bit panicked. So I have walked out of salons where I felt very disappointed with the hairstyle. So I just said to this girl, and this is how confident I was with this hairstylist, I trust you, just do whatever suits my face shape and we're good. And that's exactly what she did. She cut my hair, she carefully styled it to the way that I absolutely loved it. The final product, I just was obsessed with it. It's how I would love to have my hair every single day. And I won't show you now just because I don't want to ruin the final look at the end. So I got my hair done first, then it was time for the makeup appointment. So she basically put my fringe in a roller. Hair rollers are so common in Korea. In fact, it's so common that it's not unusual to go onto the tube or a bus and see a girl in public having hair rollers in their hair, and always it's with the front fringe, or as you Americans say, bangs. They always just have this hair roller in, just chilling on the subway / metro, and it's really normal. Whereas here in London, it's very unusual for people to have hair rollers in public. So you would pretty much get stared at. So she just put my fringe in a hair roller, and then off I went downstairs to the separate makeup room ready for my makeup. So what I really loved about this makeup room is, unlike the hair salon section, which is really public and open and you see all the other customers that are entering, with the makeup room it's very private. I went into this section, it was like a separate room, but even within that room, even if there's other customers, it's sectioned off, so you don't ever see another customer. And the beauty of that is people who aren't maybe confident with being barefaced or other people seeing them, it gives out privacy and respect, I guess. So although I did initially see a male customer when I first walked in, I was pretty much solo for the rest of my time there, and I didn't even hear any other people there. So initially, an assistant prepped my skin and base. So that's my foundation, my concealer. I actually thought she was the makeup artist, but I realized that she was just prepping my skin and base ready for the main makeup artist to take over once she'd done that. So that was already an interesting difference, because again, in the UK, you wouldn't get someone doing your base and walking away and then someone else comes and continues the makeup. You just had the same makeup artist from beginning to end. The assistant did the prep, and I guess maybe she did that whilst the makeup artist was on lunch. Maybe she was with another customer. And she asked me, you know, would you like to be fairer or would you like to go natural? Now, I was anticipating a question like that just because in Korea it's so common for people to go fairer than their natural shade. So I'm talking several shades paler than their face. And the main reason for that is it's weird and it's wrong, but in the East, and not just Asia, and I'm just not talking about even East Asia or Southeast Asia, I'm talking about India, Pakistan, I'm talking about Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, I'm talking about even Africa. It's generally deemed more desirable to have paler skin. So it's a stereotype, it's a really archaic, outdated view that, you know, if you have fairer skin, it's more beautiful. And I think it links back to the time back in the days when the farmers used to work on the fields, so naturally they would be poorer, whereas the rich would be indoors. They wouldn't have to perhaps work or be exposed to the sun, so they'll be fairer. So back in the day, it would distinguish your class. Nowadays, there's no such thing. And nowadays, there are more and more Koreans who like to be tanned. In fact, it's the first time I've been to Korea where I've seen a tanning salon. But even then, it's still rare, and unfortunately or fortunately, the trend is still fairer skin as being the better complexion. So she asked me if I wanted fairer skin or whether I wanted fairer complexion or whether I wanted natural, like matched to my skin tone. And I said natural. But I appreciated the fact that she asked me and didn't just assume that I wanted the fairer complexion. Even so, I would say that the shade she went with in the end was still fairer than my natural complexion shade, but you know, thank God I didn't say fairer, otherwise I would have looked like Casper the Ghost. So she started with my base, and I was actually really surprised at how much makeup she applied on my face. But to be fair, it wasn't like, you know, in the West when someone applies really full coverage, it's really thick, sometimes they can get very cakey. Here it was very light layers, adding and layering was really the key observation I made with the foundation base in Korea. So it was a lot of tapping, layering in small amounts and just like working it into the skin. But interestingly, with Koreans, they like that flawless complexion. Therefore, things that we in the West appreciate, like freckles or real skin coming through, you know, I think it's very London and very Parisian to still want your kind of naturalness to come through. I think it is very like chic. Whereas in Korea, although they like that no makeup look, it was a lot heavier than I anticipated, just because it's completely masking your skin. They don't want any freckles to show through, any beauty spots, nothing. It just should look like a blank canvas. And even in the, like, as the makeup progressed and the main makeup artist started applying makeup, at times they would go back to topping up almost my complexion. And in between, the makeup artist who remained on site to help the main makeup artist, the assistant should I say, I could feel her still like pinpoint concealing my face. And pinpoint concealing is a technique that a lot of makeup artists use, where you use a very tiny brush, a, you know, full coverage concealer and just literally pinpoint certain areas of imperfection to really give that flawless look. So I could feel the assistant pinpoint concealing all the time. But yeah, it was just very interesting to compare and have that point of difference. The main makeup artist then continued my makeup look, like the color aspect, whilst the assistant stayed on, helped her. She would literally hand her brushes, she would literally hand her this, hand her that. But then I wonder if it's because this makeup artist was maybe senior and therefore this assistant stayed on. Maybe if you go for a lower package and maybe you get the assistant or the junior, and she'll stay with you for the whole period of time. I don't know, but that was my experience. When the main makeup artist took over, the first thing she asked me is, are there any particular colors that you're drawn to or you don't particularly like? Again, I really appreciated that question, because a good makeup artist will always ask you questions, A, to make sure there's no confusion between your definition of, say, smoky or their definition of a smoky eye, but also B, to ensure that it's about you. At the end of the day, you're the paying customer, therefore you should be happy with the final look that you're given. So really the only way that you're going to really meet the client's desire or objective look is by asking questions. The more questions, the better. So I really appreciated her asking me, you know, are there any particular colors you like or you don't like? And that instantly made me rule out purple, because as much as I can appreciate how gorgeous and rich a color purple is, and I can appreciate how gorgeous it looks on other people and how much it can make especially brown eyes pop, on me, I just don't like purple. It's just not a color I naturally gravitate towards. Even blue, but I'm more likely to gravitate towards blue than I am purple. Purple is just a color I do not like on myself. She also asked me what kind of look I wanted to go for. So for example, whether I wanted to go for a natural, pretty, cute look, which again, I was expecting her to ask, or if I wanted to go for something else. And I said to her, I wanted to go for a soft glam look. And I use those words in English, soft, glamorous look. Although it was tempting to go for the soft, pretty, cute look, I just felt like it would have less of an impact with the before and after. And I really wanted to see what their version of soft glam was, hence why I went for the latter. So I just wanted to see her interpretation of it and see how it turned out. The main makeup artist started with my brows. And the first thing she told me is how strong my brows are. Now, like I said, this is how I normally do my brows. They're normally laminated, they're normally very fluffy. As you can see, they're quite a dark color. They're not black, but they are what I would describe a very dark, cool brown. And so she instantly told me my brows are really strong, they're quite dark. But obviously I reminded her that I was born and raised in London, and in the UK or the West we prefer an arch, whereas as many of you may or may not be familiar, in Korea the straight eyebrow look is and has been always on trend for a long time, and they tend to go quite a few shades lighter than their natural brow color. So for her, this was probably unusual. So instead of doing the fluffy look, she really tried to tone it down. She trimmed some of my brow hair and tried to tone down the color as well by going a slight lighter shade. With my eyeshadows, she again clarified whilst doing my eyeshadows, how do you feel about peach and pinks? And I just said, I don't mind peach and pinks, I like them. I just don't want to be too pink, like bubblegum pink, or too orange, like really orangey coppery tones. Just kind of like safe shades if we're going to go and do a smoky eye with those colors. So she said she understood, and again, I had no fears about how she would do my eye color. And normally, where I've very few occasions where I've had my makeup done in the UK, I'm normally trembling. I mean, I'm exaggerating slightly, but I'm normally trembling in the chair because I'm thinking, please don't mess up my eye makeup. For us Asians, our eyes are very important to us. Normally where I've had experiences with people doing my makeup that I don't know or don't trust or haven't had an experience with doing my makeup before, they've normally taken my eyeshadow really super high, making me look like, I don't know, like I'm supposed to be in theatre doing Lion King or something, and it just hasn't been me. And you know, they'll say really kind of, I know they don't often mean to, but patronizing sentences like, oh, Asian eyes are great because they can take so much color, because you've got so much lid space, I can really go in with eyeshadow. And I'm like, no hun, you can't. There's like a limit to how much shadow I want on my eyes, and really, again, that's where a good makeup artist should be saying, where do you want me to take the color up until? Where are you comfortable with this eye look going up until? So at least being in this Korean makeup artist makeup chair, I was confident that I was in good hands, and I was. The final look where I saw where she had placed the eyeshadow, I absolutely loved it. She kept stepping back to take a look at my eyes, looking in the mirror. Again, all signs of a great makeup artist. Now with the lashes, they were like cluster lashes, so not individual one lashes, and not single, you know, like full lashes where you just stick them on and they're done. And she was so quick with it, and I could just tell that, again, she was really experienced, because trust me, sticking false lashes on someone's eye, your own eye, let alone someone else's eye, is very fiddly work, and it's very easy to tremble or get it wrong or misplace it. But she was so quick, and everything she did was so accurate, so that was really impressive. Another thing I noticed that they do, which was the most, I guess, hairy moment, was for half the session I had my eyes closed, and I could just hear the sound of a lighter clicking. I was like, that sounds like a lighter clicking. Click, click, click. You can hear the flame. And then I could smell almost like burning. I was like, okay, this is unusual. I wonder what this is. Cautiously opened my eyes and saw that they were burning these long, almost like cocktail skewer sticks. You know, like sticks where you normally skewer meat on it. Clean ones, obviously. And the assistant was lighting the stick to get it heated. So she's like, and then she'd quickly hand it to the main makeup artist. And in my head, I instantly thought in that second, if that touches my eye and makes me go blind, I'm going to sue this place. And much to my horror, it did come near my eyes. In fact, it was placed just under my lashes. And the whole purpose of it is almost like a heated eyelash curler. It's very rare in the UK. In Asia, it's more common. But instead of using a heated eyelash curler, they were using old school style, where they literally placed it under the eyes and they lifted my lashes to give it more of a lift and a curl. And maybe it was also to kind of bind the mascara, my natural lashes, and the fake lashes all together. Either way, when it came here, even though she's, again, very much an expert, she placed it very accurately. Boom, done. Next, boom, lift, done. Like I said, it was a very hairy experience, because when it comes here, you can literally feel the heat on your eyeball. Not to the point where it's burning or hurting you, but like you can feel it. And that moment, then the hairs just stand up on the back of your neck. So that happened twice. They did one stick for one eye, another stick for the other eye. And the main reason they do that is because with Asian lashes, normally Asian lashes are very, very thick, straight and heavy. And often they overlap. So normally, not with everyone, Caucasian, black women, the lashes naturally kind of are like this, and they go up, and there's a natural curl to them. Whereas some Asian lashes are a bit like that, and they're very straight, and they're heavy, so they go down, and they're short. So imagine trying to apply mascara on very short, stubby eyelashes. So unless you're at the very least using an eyelash curler, unless at the very least you're using some kind of heated perm mascara curlers, whatever they're called, they're never going to go up. And in fact, putting mascara on them is just going to make them go heavier, unless they're really fantastic mascara, unless you're using one. So she did a combination of eyelash curlers, the heated trick, false lashes, and mascara. In my case, I'm really fortunate to not need eyelash curlers or need any heated device whatsoever. I naturally have lashes that curl up, and I'm just really, really fortunate. But normally with Asian women, you have to go to that extreme. My only concern with that is if you do it on a regular basis, the heat is not good for your lashes, and there probably will be breakage at some point if you're not careful. So it's really for the odd occasion or special occasion that you can do it. Otherwise, stay away from that technique. So after my eyes, the makeup artist then moved on to blush and contour. So she applied a bit of blush first, and then she went in with contour. Now, I was really interested to see what she would do with contour, because like I said earlier, I like doing quite angular, structured contouring to just give me that look. But I know Koreans, although they do contour, they like it to be more subtle. So I just naturally assumed she would go in with a really pale contour shade, barely visible, and just do a light like do 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 and be done. But what I was really shocked about was she got a big fluffy brush, and I was like, that's a weird brush to choose for contouring. And the contour color, as I predicted, was very, very subtle. So it's almost like a slight shadowy color. So almost like a color slightly deeper than the foundation shade they had applied on me. And she really swirled this big brush in there for ages. She was like as if she was like, I don't know, conjuring some magic in a cauldron. And she was like just swirling and swirling and swirling for ages. And I was like, all right, hun, calm down. I know my face is big, but really, you're just... It's almost like, say your face is fat without using words. And she was literally just swirling for ages. And then afterwards, she just went, just started going crazy, and it went all over. And that really surprised me because, like I said, everything else up to that point was very much strategic. It was about precise placement, whether it from the pinpoint concealing to the way they do the eyes, careful how they apply the lashes, to, you know, placement of the blush and how they do the brows. And then suddenly she's going all over like some crazy woman on my face with this contouring powder. And you know, when you've got your eyes closed and you're just praying that you don't look muddy and dirty. But when I opened my eyes, I was really surprised to see that it looked like she had done nothing, but somehow my face looked slimmer. So I don't know what magic she had conjured up in her cauldron, but literally my face looks smaller than it does now. So I think it was just a whole shadowing thing where she really just went all over. There was no strategic placement where the cheekbone is. I think she was just shadowing this area just to really minimize and hide the chubbiest part of my face and make it look thinner. That was the intention. Also, what I want to say at this point is, in Korea, when we're talking about ideal beauty, they like the big eyes. They like the thin nose that's also raised. I don't know how you say it, not flat noses. They like the kind of heart-shaped faces where you've got the wider face here, and then it literally goes into a V chin, slim, and full lips. So that's like the exact ideal for beauty. And because of Korea, that trend of what beauty should be has kind of filtered into other parts of Asia, including China and other parts of Southeast Asia. I guess the contouring links back to that, where they just want to really slim down the face and try and create that V shape. In fact, kind of going off on a tangent, but you know, with sheet masks and how many masks are in Korea, they have all sorts of masks, as you can think of, to tackle every kind of skin concern or skin type. But unsurprisingly, they have these masks where you literally hook it on your chin as if you're about to put a face mask on, hook it on the back of your ears, and it's supposed to like tug. So can you already see the difference that makes when I hold up my face like that? And it's supposed to give you more of that V-neck. Koreans are all into their facials to really squeeze the fat out of your face, basically, because they really want to have a slim face. They get all sorts of things done, like cosmetic procedures, injections, you name it, they get it done. I just wanted to give you a little bit of context as to why she probably did that. And then with highlighter, so again, in the West, majority of people are fans of highlighters, majority. Even if it's not like the shimmering, sparkling kind, which a lot more of mature women find intimidating, it could just be something that just looks a little bit more glossy on the skin, makes it look a bit more glowy and healthy. Whereas she didn't apply any highlighter, because it's not really a Korean thing to apply a highlighter here on the highest part of the cheekbone. However, she did apply a highlighter just under my eyes, but not like a really pearlescent highlighter. It was just a brightening one under my eyes, for the obvious reasons, to brighten under my eyes. But also because, and again, she didn't explain this, but I know why they do it. In Korea, part of that beauty ideal, it's very common to get plastic surgery under the eyes. This is going to sound really bizarre to people who are not Asian, where it looks like, the only way I can describe the shape is like a speed bump. You know, on a road when you're driving and there's like a little speed bump, or the little brioche. I don't know, you might be watching this thinking, what is this girl on about? But they get a little like lump where they get something filled in just under the eyes, and it gives this like raised look. And directly translated from Korean to English, because in Korean it's called 𝕃𝕠𝕘, it's like love skin, it's cute skin. I don't know how you would literally directly translate it, but the Koreans believe that it makes someone look more youthful if you have a little bit of plumpness just under the eyes. And it always makes me laugh because I just find the East and West ideals of beauty so different. In the West, I was so used to teenage English girls and young women in their 20s constantly wanting to be 3 shades darker because they always want, you know, people want what they always don't have. So they wanted to look a little bit more tanned, maybe a bit more exotic. I don't know, like they'd been on a yacht in Saint-Tropez. And then the Asians want to be 3 shades, 5 shades, 10 shades fairer. And then you have Asians wanting big round eyes, and then the Western women wanting the feline cat eyes. And then you have Western women hate anything to do with bags. If they could exercise eye bags or dark circles away, they would do it. But in Korea, they're wanting to add little eye bags under their eyes because they believe it's useful. So it just makes me laugh how contradicting it is in different countries and cultures' views of beauty. So going back to the powder, I believe that her way of adding a brightness under the eye was to almost give the effect of more brightness and youthfulness under my eyes. Then she finished with the lip, and really the lip color, she just chose it but made sure that it worked with the slightly smoky eyes and the rest of my face. The lips I find really interesting again because back in the day, Koreans were they just had natural lips. They were doing every other cosmetic procedure you can think of, but the lips were natural. And these days, if you go onto Instagram, although there is a general lip filler trend all over the world, like it's very, very common to see those infamous duck lips on Instagram. It never used to be the case with Korea. You would see other forms of surgery and other forms of tweaks on the face, but not fillers. Nowadays, all the Korean girls, I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to woman shame, but I'm saying it from the perspective of all the women tend to look the same because they tend to do the same surgery. They tend to all have the lip filler, all have that same face shape, all have the same kind of eye makeup, all have that same surgery under the eyes. A lot of them, not all, but a lot of them have nose surgery. They tend to look the same. And apparently I heard that when you go to a cosmetic surgery place, you can choose images of how you want to look, but it's not like a massive catalogue. It's quite like limited in terms of what you can do. And obviously bear in mind, you can only do so much without looking completely fake and unnatural. So a lot of women for that reason tend to look quite similar. And so the reason why I'm pointing it out is not to, like I said, women shame or cosmetic surgery shame. I honestly am a firm believer that if you are suffering with confidence issues, or you've suffered with something that, you know, you've been bullied about before, and you really want to get cosmetic surgery to change that, to help with your self-esteem and confidence, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. The thing that makes me concerned about the cosmetic surgery and trend in Korea is it's really unhealthy how many people get it done, the early age that they get it done, and the pressure to get it done. So now that almost at least, they say, I think they said at least 50% of women get cosmetic surgery done. That's rubbish. I would say at least 70-80% of women get it done nowadays, and they get it done younger and younger and younger, even before university. I don't know what the laws are around the age of cosmetic surgery in Korea, but it's so much more accessible, it's so much more affordable. And like I said, when everyone around you is starting to look prettier, starting to look, you know, the same, and you're, in your mind, the ugly one, when in fact you're the more natural one, there's this pressure to look like them and the pressure to have the same surgery. And even if you don't want it, or if you're not thinking about it, you might have your family members telling you, oh, why don't you just get a nip and tuck here? And if that's not the case, then you might go to a job interview, and then someone who's considered more good looking than you gets the job. or you know what I mean? So there is so much pressure, and I just think it's so unhealthy for young Korean women these days, and children and teenagers, and that's something that I really feel strongly about. I will not change my mind. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it in the same way many of you may be entitled to a different opinion to mine, and that's okay. But I genuinely hope that in the future that changes and women don't feel pressured to get cosmetic surgery, because the rate that they're getting it done now is quite alarming. Anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent, but it really ties in nicely with the summary. So I just wanted to quickly show you the final look. Finally, so this is the final look and how I looked at the end, and in this picture no filters were used. You guys know how I feel about that. If I use a filter, I will say, or be very obvious. Generally, if I don't use filters, I will say I don't use a filter, or #no filter. You will see that as a common theme on my Instagram. So no filter, and also natural light. And honestly, I did feel very, very beautiful and glamorous at the end of it. I felt like both women, both the hairstylist and the makeup artist, had taken on board what I said. They're just so skilled at what they do, and even with not minimum investigation, because they did ask me questions, but even without probing too much, they just knew what suited my face shape. They knew what would suit me. I felt honestly so glamorous, and like I said, I ended up going on a date night for Valentine's with my other half, but I honestly didn't want to wash off the makeup or wash my face at the end of it. If I could have, I would have kept it on, but we all know that's not great for your skin. I'd love to know what you guys think about the cosmetic surgery that I spoke about just a minute ago. This is the makeup that I do. You saw the picture that I shared of the makeover that they gave me in Korea. What do you guys think? Be honest as you want, be as brutal as you want. But obviously in Korea, it's very, very, very common as a makeup trend to want to look youthful, cute, lovely. You will often hear the word lovely because they want to look lovely, they want to look fresh, they want to look youthful, they want to look cute. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll use minimal makeup. They will use makeup and techniques in a way where it looks like no makeup, where it looks like you were just born with fresh skin, fresh everything, and it's really down to clever makeup techniques that achieve that final look. In the West, I feel like more women either want the natural look or they want like a sexy look. Again, comment down below if you disagree with me. Let's have a nice friendly discussion. I also found it very interesting because if I'm doing more of a smoky eye, I'll tend to do that first and then do my base last, only because if there's fallout, there's no point, you know, you've done your makeup perfectly, especially your eye concealer, and you get this fallout and you then have to redo it again. It's just a lot of faff. So I just avoid that altogether, have a clear base, do my smoky eye, and then I get to clean it up and then apply my base. But it was interesting how they did it in a different order. They did base first, brows, eyes, cheeks, lips, etc. Like I said, both women were extremely talented. If I lived in Korea, honestly, I would go back regularly to see both of them, especially the hairstylist. She was just so lovely, and not just because she was my friend's friend. She just had such a nice warmth and aura about her. You know, I'm quite good at reading people. You know, when someone just instantly puts you at ease and you can just tell they're a genuinely nice person. That's how I felt about this hairstylist. Anyway, let's get to the important thing, price. So in Korean money, for both the hair and makeup, it cost 220,000 won, which basically equates to approximately £140. So I know that sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but in some top Mayfair hair salons that I've previously been to, I've paid that much, if not more. I know some of you will want to vomit, for a haircut and obviously styling afterwards, but that was excluding the makeup and makeover. In my opinion, if we're putting it side by side with Mayfair, Chelsea prices, because that was the area that I was in, these women and this salon has celebrity clientele. So when you're comparing that level of expertise or bouginess, I guess, to the UK, I got hair and makeup done by the top hair and makeup professionals for £140, whereas like I said, I've been in Mayfair hair salons where I've paid easily £80 to £150 for just hair alone. So that's something I wanted to highlight. Another thing I wanted to just touch upon is, you know how I mentioned that there was a male customer in the beauty room when I popped in? that might seem surprising because it's very rare to see a man in a beauty chair in the UK. I mean, you'll see male makeup artists, but it's very rare to see a man sitting in a makeup chair, because I guess there is still somewhat of a stigma here in the West about men getting their makeup done. And even if we talk about male grooming or male makeup, it'll be just specific to shaving or skincare or very minimal things like brows or a little bit of concealer or a tinted balm maybe. But in Korea, it's very common for men to wear makeup, and they're very much proud of their male grooming. In fact, I think Korean men are some of the biggest spenders on beauty in the entire world. That is crazy. Considering how much beauty there is in Korea, even then, Korean women are not the biggest spenders of beauty products in the world. I mean, they're probably up there, like top 5, top 10, who knows. But men, apparently Korean men, are the top spenders when it comes to male grooming and male beauty in the world. And that should speak volumes. And again, completely up to, it's dependent on the individual. I personally wouldn't like my husband to spend more time on his grooming than I do. But a lot of men in Korea do love taking pride in their appearance, and so they should. So it's very common for men to get their hair done, and not just like, I'm not just talking about a quick zzz and they're done. I'm talking perming, and I don't mean like the old like Coronation Street type perms where it's just like ringlets. I mean, it gives a little bit of lift and oomph to the hair and volume to the hair, and it makes the hair a lot more slicker. I'll insert a picture so you know what I'm talking about. And it's very common for them to wear like foundation, very common for them to wear a little bit of like eyeliner, maybe not in the way that I've worn it, but maybe underneath, just a little bit of subtlety to just give the eyes a bit more definition. It's very common for them to wear like tinted lip balm, but again, it's not for everyone. I think it's more the younger generation. The older Korean men, the older generation, you certainly will not see them wearing makeup unless they work in TV or something like that. So that's just thoughts that I kind of wanted to share with you on the difference between West and East. So yeah, that was my makeover in a Korean beauty salon, and I honestly felt like a Korean pop idol. I really did, even if it was just for a moment. And I know I'm the age to be an auntie to one of these real K-pop idols, but I did feel very special and beautiful for that day. So let me know what you think of the final look. Let me know your thoughts in general, thoughts on what I've shared throughout the video, thoughts on East versus West with beauty. I would love to know if you know something that I don't know or can give better explanation to something that I don't know. Let's have a discussion down below. Hope you enjoyed this content, even though it was slightly different. And like I said, I have much more content on the way. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.